The following is a paid advertisement program provided by Premier Investments and Wealth Management. An airing of the program is not to be considered an endorsement or recommendation. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and not necessarily of this station or iHeartMedia. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. The information in the following program should not be construed as an offer to sell and is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax advisor or legal counsel.
Hello, friend. Welcome to the Premier Investment and Wealth Management Financial Program. My name is Doug Wagner, and I'm going to introduce you to somebody here in a matter of moment that you need to know. But before we do that, what I want to do is make sure that you take this time to go to premieriwm.com. Click Get Started, whether you're using your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or a desktop. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. Just open up another browser and do that. Premier IWM. Click Get Started. Then I want you to answer the questions. You will be provided with what's called a one-page Premier Vision document by Premier Investments and Wealth Management. So you can find out, am I ready for retirement? Maybe you've got other financial and investment goals you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're trying to save for your children's education. Maybe you're trying to save for that lake house or maybe that hunting lodge that you would like to build on a piece of property that you want to buy, but you can't make those dreams come true if you don't have a plan, and that's where Premier Investments and Wealth Management comes in. Premier IWM, click Get Started, or you can call to make an appointment today, 800-383-6590. By the way, no obligation appointment. Once you do that and you sit down with them, they'll give you that Premier Vision document to take home for free if you'd like. Now, I need to introduce you to President and Wealth Advisor at Premier Investments and Wealth Management, over 21 years of experience in the financial services industry. He's an accredited investment fiduciary. He is better than old man time, and he's better than baby New Year. He is the big kahuna, Roger Abel. Happy New Year, Roger.
Happy New Year, Doug. I think that introduction was the grand finale for the year. I appreciate it. You know, maybe we'll go with a new theme in 2025. Who knows?
Okay.
Do we have a resolution? I don't know. But that's what today's show is about.
Exactly.
Resolutions. And everybody has one.
Even better next year. So that's the whole thing. I resolved to be better next year. And everybody needs to have these. It's important because when you do these things, Roger, you do them as a pattern and you can actually improve yourself. One of the most important things, though, you got to write these things down.
Yeah. So here's you made a comment, everybody has to have these. I don't think everybody has to have them. If you're setting a goal or resolution because you think you're supposed to, it's not going to work, so just forget about it.
Okay.
Seriously, like if you're doing it because you're supposed to,
you're
going to be the 77% of the people that are done after a week.
Okay.
Like it's reality. So Elias, not with us today. He is actually out deer hunting.
Nice.
Way to go, Elias. He doesn't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Really?
Because he sets goals throughout the year. So that's all a resolution really is how am I going to improve myself next year? But yeah, I don't believe everybody has to have one. Do I set them? Yes, I do.
Okay.
But I try to be very realistic, and I try to set benchmarks. Like, okay, what's the benchmark to being on track? Because if your resolution is to lose 30 pounds, fitness is everybody's, 48% of the people.
Yeah.
That's their New Year's resolution. Prioritized enhancing their physical health through exercise and activity.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you say, I want to lose 30 pounds, that's a crappy goal because it's going to take you all year to do it.
Right.
How about you say my goal for the next 4 weeks is to lose 1 pound per week? Because what happens at the end of a week, if you're down a pound, you get the positive reinforcement from it.
Okay.
After 2 weeks, you're like, oh yeah, I'm down another pound. After 4, you're like, whoa, I'm down another pound. And you're getting in this routine that's repeatable and you can continue it. But if your goal is to lose 30,
right,
and after 4 weeks, you're down to 40, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so far away. It's never going to happen. Give me the cookies. Give me the Lucky Charms at 9 o'clock at night. Right? Everybody can do a good job during the day, but once 8 or 9 o'clock comes, you've starved your body of food, you've been working out or whatever, give me the Lucky Charms.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that because you talk about improving fitness and then losing weight and things like that. Other things too, people's diet and improving your mental health is something I think a lot of people are really picking up on as we move through, especially after the long election year that we had. I think there's a lot of people who are now saying, all right, I need a mental health scrub and start over and improve that. But there's metrics for those things as well. I mean, there's resources you may have as an employee through your employer that you can utilize for that. But we're talking about this Forbes Health Survey and the most common resolution. What was the percentage of people, Roger, who said that they wanted to improve their finances according to this Forbes Health Survey?
So 38%, according to Forbes, are aiming to better manage their financial situation, focus on saving money and reducing expenses, which I think are all good goals. But I think you need to be very intentful with your goals. It has to be specific to be real. One thing I do every year, we just did this with Molly 2 weeks ago. We go through every penny that this company spends.
Yeah.
And figure out, is there stuff we're not using? Like the goal is not to save money. The goal is to cancel things that we are not using that we spend money on.
Poof.
And it's changed. 10 years ago, this wasn't as big of a deal.
Right.
But today with the subscription environment, most people are probably spending $200 to $500 a month on subscriptions that they don't know that they have, they don't need, or don't want. Yeah. I know we came up with $520 a month of stuff that we could cut just like that. It's not that it's not good stuff. It's just we're not utilizing it. So why would we continue down the path? The goal isn't to save money. The goal was to, hey, let's figure out what we're utilizing and not utilizing. Just cut that fat out.
It's funny because we moved into our house like 3 years ago, and there's still boxes in the basement that are labeled, so I know what's in them. And I'm like the point where I'm like, we haven't opened these in 3 years. I'm literally taking them to Goodwill or throwing them away. If you don't use it, then you gotta go that way.
That's the 2-year rule.
Yeah, I know.
If it hasn't been used in 2 years, you don't really need it. And if you're in a situation you can afford to replace it, you should get rid of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I went through most people's closets, they wear 30% of what's in their closet. They keep the other 70% because they thought it was nice when they bought it or is expensive. I couldn't give that away. But it's literally going to sit in that corner and collect dust until it's 15 years old and no longer fits or is just so out of fashion that you have to get rid of it.
Come on. My leisure suit's still good.
I do the closet purge every year too.
Yeah.
6 bags to Goodwill. Just get rid of it. If I haven't worn it in a year, if I haven't worn it in the last 12 months, what are the chances I'm going to wear it in the next 12?
Good point.
I'm not, because I'm going to buy new clothes, which is going to make those more obsolete.
Yeah, it makes sense. The setting smart money goals in the coming year really makes sense. Talking with Roger Abel from Premier Investments and Wealth Management, premieriwm.com is his website. You can make an appointment online at that website. You can also download all the downloadable cool stuff. They've got links to the video blogs and the YouTube videos and stuff like that. You can also call for an appointment today at 800-383-6590. We're talking with Roger about the most common resolutions from Forbes Health Survey. And there's another study that says, Roger, that 77% of people adhere to their resolutions for at least 1 week. And so, okay, that means there's another 23% who are just like, I'm so done with this because I overcommitted. I just couldn't.
There you go. It's too big of a deal. So let's go through some examples. 23% can't make it 7 days. That means they weren't realistic about the goal. So let's say your goal is I'm going to give up alcohol for 30 days. And you're a regular drinker, like you drink in social occasions. And you have a Christmas party on January 3rd. Yeah, guess what? It's not going to work out. That wasn't a realistic goal. Right? Or my goal is to work out for 1 hour, 7 days a week. But you haven't worked out for 20 minutes the last month. Not realistic. Maybe the first goal is, hey, 3 days a week, I want to do a 20-minute walk after dinner. That is a much more achievable goal. And Doug, you've lost a lot of weight. Through diet and exercise, and I've done the same thing over the last 3 years. Most people can't go change their diet and this extreme exercise routine and sustain it for a period of time. So if your goal is to lose weight don't go guns a-blazing at the gym. And the diet, you're going to be starving because you're exercising.
Right.
And then you go try to do the diet. Well, that's not going to work. Like it won't. Something's got to give. So maybe you pick one or the other and then ease into the other.
Yeah.
Let's spin it to finances. If you've never saved money and now your goal is to put away 15% of your paycheck, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You won't do it. You might do it for a week or two, or you can be part of the declining adherence group that by the end of January, 64% have abandoned their resolution. So at the end of a month, 64% of the people have already given up.
Right.
Because they made it too hard. It was too big of a goal. Think about this goal in this long-term fashion. If your goal is to save 15% of your paycheck and you save zero, well, maybe the first year it's just, let's get the company match.
Right.
Okay, the company match is 3%. I got to put in 5 to get it. We're going to do 5. And then next year, we set a 3-year goal. Great. Now we're going to increase it 2%. We're going to do a Roth IRA or whatever the minutia is, but just be realistic in how much you can accomplish.
And another thing, too, that you all have taught me here at Premier Investments and Wealth Management is if you take it out first, then you don't even miss it because you just don't see it.
Pay yourself first. Best thing to do. Here's something I've noticed with people and goals. People vastly overestimate what they can accomplish in the short term. So let's call that less than 12 months.
Okay.
They have this vast confidence in what they can accomplish, and they typically can't do that. But over a 5-year period of time, they vastly underestimate where they can go. They underestimate what they can do in 5 years, but overestimate what they can do in 12 months.
Yeah.
Because our society is just this quick hit, quick fix society. I can do it fast. The tortoise is going to win the race. Just set out goals and stick with it. It starts to add up and add up and add up. And then all of a sudden your account gets to a critical mass. You're like, whoa, did it really just go up $250,000 this year? I mean, think about it. If you had, if the market goes up 30% on $1,000, that's not exciting. 30% on $1 million is. You can't save $1 million in 12 months typically.
Yeah.
You can do it over 10 or 15 years.
It's funny that you say that, Roger, is because I hit one of those. It's one of those critical mass points for me is that I hit a number in my 401k that I was like, yes, this is one of the milestones I was looking for. And now, instead of going up by 1% next year in my 401k, I'm gonna resolve to go up 2%. I'm like, you know what? And I'm not gonna know it's not there. I mean, because it's gonna be already gone, and I'm not gonna really notice those things. If you make too many resolutions, though, there are a lot of people who do something like that, and they just get all jumbled up and confused. Maybe try to figure out a way that you can start in one area and then work your way through, because you're talking about saving, but then you're talking about emergency fund too. You're talking about investing, and then people that they don't have an emergency fund.
Well, they just got to do order of operations. If you don't have an emergency fund, you have to accomplish that first. Like that. And if we're only looking, Doug, at financial resolutions, the first thing to do is assess where you're at. You need to figure out where you are financially. But emergency fund is clearly number one. Then number two, we should be saving some money, paying ourselves first, starting to knock out our debt. But if you have the emergency fund, one of the things, if you're trying to figure out what you need to save, get the financial plan done. Back into where you need to be. Okay. You know, maybe you're putting away enough that you're financially going to be in great shape in retirement. Well, maybe there's a different goal, because saving more money isn't the goal. I mean, let's throw it out. Let me throw this to you, Doug. If I told you your current savings rate was on track for retirement, would you increase your 401k contribution?
You know what? I probably would, just because I want to overshoot it now.
Okay, so you want to overshoot it, but I'm going to turn this around. You've got 3 kids. You're married. You're 42. You're on track. You're in great shape.
Right.
Your wife wants a new house, but you're worried about retirement.
Right.
Oh, wait, you're in great shape. Maybe we can afford that new house. You're in a different part of life. And I agree. Done this almost 22 years. Never met someone that told me they wish they would have saved less. Never, ever happened in all my years of doing this.
But it's order of operation of where you are in life, too.
Correct.
This is one of the neat things about what you do when you talk with my friends at Premier Investment and Wealth Management is that last show we did before Christmas, we did a checklist. So we're here talking about, as we approach the new year, setting your financial money goals and smart ones. And not only that, talking about resolutions. One of the things that you have is, I see it as another checklist. It's the idea of, you talked about realistic goals. I'm talking about the next one, creating a plan. Let's go through this checklist.
Well, first thing, you have to set really realistic goals. So there's an acronym that's used. It's called SMART.
Okay.
Every goal should have each one of these in it. So specific.
Okay.
Needs to be a specific goal. Saving more money. So in your case, I'm going to increase my 401k.
Right.
Okay. Specifically, why? If it's not specific, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
It has to be measurable. So your goal would be measurable. We know it's going to be 2% more.
Right.
Is it achievable? Has to be achievable. Relevant and time bound. Time bound means, hey, we have a time for this to be done by.
Right.
So if you say, hey, I'm going to increase it 12% for 12 months,
Right.
then you can accomplish the goal. But in
makes
that
sense.
case, your goal was missing one component. Specifically, why are you doing that goal?
Right.
And if your goal is missing any of these 5 components, you're likely going to be part of the vast majority of people that never accomplishes the goal.
Right. And this is interesting because for me, one of those things is that I'm going to do this is like, I know that when I hit the new year, that's one of the first things I'm going to do, regardless of anything. Because for me, that where are we? The relevant. For me, the whole thing is like, okay, the reason I'm doing this in the first place is because I want to make sure that I keep on building on this because I like that number that I saw when I hit that milestone, and I want to continue knocking down these milestones as fast as I possibly can because I'm not getting any younger.
So here's what you should do is you should go meet with Mark. 'Cause I know that's who you work with.
Yeah.
Or Jonas.
Well, Mark.
Update your financial plan, right?
Yeah.
And figure out what is the cause and effect of 2% more contribution. How does it actually affect me long term?
Okay.
Because 2 things could happen. The benefit could be massive, or because of your age, not that you're old, but I'm guessing you have 10 years to work?
10, 15.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe 15. Quantify the impact.
Yeah.
And then, hey, specifically, I want to get to this number. So whether it's 2 million or 1 million, whatever the number is,
Right.
this is why I'm doing it. And then you've given purpose to it. A goal without purpose never happens.
Right.
You know, if someone says I'm going to lose weight, well, no, you're not, because you don't have a reason why you want to lose weight. Number one. Number 2, you didn't put amount of weight you want to lose.
Right.
3, you didn't put a time to it. It's not specific. Like, there has to be a real reason. Saving more money or making more money is not a reason.
Right. You're right about that. This is interesting. The creating the plan, you talked about setting the realistic goals. I love that SMART acronym, but the idea of beneath this here, trying to be positive and realistic, but say, hey, what do you want? And this goes not only for finances, this goes for anything in life.
Yeah.
If you're going to create a plan to achieve it, this is how you do it.
Yeah. What do you want to happen? Right? Okay. Once we know what we want to accomplish, next is, what's the ideal outcome? What does it look like? What will your life look like if you hit that goal?
Right.
So you want to increase, I'm just picking on you because you threw this out there.
That's fine.
You want to increase your 401k contribution 2%. So you can get $2 million.
Yeah.
Well, if you get to 2 million, what does that actually do for you?
For me, it allows me to rest a little bit easier knowing that I've got money oversaved to that point, or saved to the point where I can live the kind of life that I would like to live.
Well, what if you were able to live the life you wanted to live on 1.5 million?
That means that I would have to put away less now, and that I could use that in between now and then, or I could build a legacy.
So a little bit of it goes to being very specific as to what that does for you. Do you want the extra 500,000 because you get to do more vacations? Right. Because if you just tell me it's to have more money, how is it going to benefit you? You have to figure out what the long-term benefit is too. And I really believe in this. And the longer I'm in this industry and watch how people spend, sometimes people are sacrificing on the front end their lifestyle to live on the back end. And they retire at 67. They have 5 good years left, and they have all this money left over.
Right.
And they sacrificed all this time on the front end when they could have taken their kids on vacation and watch people enjoy it and enjoy it with your spouse and everybody's healthy. That's why I think you need to really figure out what is the reason I need this extra money.
Okay.
Like, I get it. You want to be secure, but if you're already secure,
right,
why do we need more?
You know, this makes sense too, because it talks to what you discuss about having a plan that reflects your entire life, because you talk about, okay, when you sit down with your clients, you interview them, you talk with them about what does your family's health tree look like, because it gives you a little bit of an idea what if you've got both of your parents have lived really long lives, you know that your potential exists for you to live a really long life. If both of them have died prematurely, then you know that you may have other issues that are going on.
I think you have to dig deeper than just living.
Okay.
Because there's being alive and there's actually living.
Yeah.
Right?
This is heavy stuff.
Think about spending money in phases. Everybody can reflect in their family and say, okay, mom and dad retired at X. How did they live in retirement? What was their health like? What was their mobility like?
Yeah.
If they had all the money in the world after X age, this is when they would have stopped spending money, because everybody will hit a point in time where it's just not as easy to spend money.
Yeah.
Whether it's just your mobility, your physical health, your desire to go do things. You've kind of done it all.
Yeah.
And that's why we try to get people, and they're doing this financial plan, to think about the phases of spending, right? You have the go-go, you have the slow-go, you have the no-go, and Jonas added the uh-oh.
Oh, I haven't heard about this one.
Were you not there for the uh-oh phase?
No.
The what happens if, what if, the what if stage?
Oh, no, I must have been with Randy.
That was with Randy, yeah.
Okay. Then you've got the obstacle, the idea of creating the plan. You know yourself. Here's the thing is that I know that when Laura had her total knee replacement, I was going to be responsible for administering narcotics. And I enjoy a cocktail or two. I had to step away, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do these two things at once. That was the obstacle. And that was...
You mean you weren't going to be able to do the narcotics and the cocktail?
I was not
together?
able to administer the narcotics and do the cocktail.
I thought you having the narcotics and the cocktail.
No.
I'm joking.
For me, I hear you. But for me, that was one of those things that it had been an obstacle, and it's one of those things that I had a goal for weight loss, and I decided at the same time I was going to make radical changes. It's like, all right, I'm rolling it all up to one and doing it now. So I changed what I ate, when I ate it, how I ate it, what I drank or didn't drink, what I exercised, how I exercised, and I put it all in this radical form, and I made that commitment, and I knew I was bound because I had to be there to take care of somebody, and I tied it all up together. And I was able to take all of my obstacles, roll them all up in one thing, and just pitch them.
Well, yeah, you were fortunate because you had a secondary goal that motivated you to do it, making sure your spouse or significant other was okay, which then said, hey, well, I don't want to drink anyway because I'm on this new diet, so I can't. Like, just reinforced it. I think what you did there, though, was you knew yourself. And this is where people need to have especially if we're talking about finances, have a really good understanding about what your relationship is with money. If you're a spendthrift, understand that.
Yeah.
Don't go say, hey, I'm not going to spend $1 for the next month. It won't work. First time you see an ad, I have a personal story about this.
Okay.
So, I like my hobbies, fishing, hunting, all that stuff.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago, I told my buddy Buzz, I said, hey, I'm not going to buy anything for fishing this year. I have everything. And he just chuckled. He said, yeah, right. By the end of the year, I'd spend thousands, but I went into the year, I'm not going to spend a dime on fishing. But you hear the moment, like, I need that, I need that, I need that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a good reflection of myself. So now I put some speedometers. Hey, this is what my budget is for fishing equipment this year. Otherwise, I just buy it all. Same thing with hunting equipment. How many duffel bags does this guy need?
Yeah.
How many? Like, I got 6 of these Caillou or Kuyu, whatever I pronounce it wrong, duffel bags, as they were on sale.
Yeah.
One of my buddies is like, why do you need 6? I'm like, well, I'm going to replace all these bins. They're like, well, what was wrong with the bins? Well, it's not the new duffel bags that were on sale. There's nothing wrong. You got to understand what your relationship is with money.
Yeah.
And then ultimately put a plan that you can get around, right? If you spend a few $1,000s on hunting equipment, okay, great. Instead of spending 4, I'm going to spend 2.
Right.
Don't get around the plan of spending 0. It won't happen and you'll quit.
And don't let yourself get knocked back by setbacks either, because that's the thing, is that, you know what, you just don't give up. That's the whole thing. I think another thing's not on here, maybe have an accountability partner as well.
Oh, for sure. Someone says, why are you doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Hey, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
So when I lost a bunch of weight like 3 years ago, and I did have an accountability partner, kind of, because he was doing the same thing at the same time. And you know what? Yeah, I limited sugar, limited carbs, and exercise. That's what I did. I did.
Yeah.
And that didn't mean it was zero forever.
Right.
It was, oh yeah, it's my kid's birthday, I'm going to eat birthday cake.
Right.
But what it was my diet's not going to be every Friday night chicken wings and French fries and Sour Patch Kids. And then Saturday night, it's pizza and ice cream. What it meant was most of the time, I'm going to eliminate this stuff. But on the special occasions, great. We can cheat and do it. And then it keeps you sane.
Right.
It keeps you in the game.
And the accountability is there too. I was playing poker as we start to wrap up the show. I was playing poker the other night with some folks, and the guy sitting next to me is type 1 diabetic. And we said there, it's the end of the year. There's like a social party. It wasn't like big money maker poker tournament or anything like that. But his wife was playing too. She was there. And he got up to go over to grab more food. And she said, hey. He's like, okay. I said, what was that about? I mean, I literally just met him. He says, she's my accountability partner. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I've lost 60, 70 pounds, and I was on insulin before, and I need to get off this because I don't want to die young. I was like, you are awesome.
Yeah. My wife will give me the look. She's like, so the other night, I had the family-sized Kit Kat. It was in one of my kids' bags from Halloween. I'm like, oh,
you mean the one like this?
It was big. And I don't eat much candy. I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm having a cheat night.
Yeah.
She came by. She goes, did you eat the whole bar? I go, yeah, I did.
I did.
She goes, what was the point of you eating healthy all day?
Yeah.
You just had 420 calories in a Kit Kat bar. I go, I know.
Yeah.
But, you know,
you know what you said.
She wasn't mad. She's just saying, did you really need to eat the whole thing? Could you had 2 instead of 8 pieces? Like,
I know what you said back. Give me a break. Sorry.
Give me the
couldn't
Kit Kat
help
bar.
it. Exactly. I couldn't help
All
it.
right.
Hey, we're going to wrap up the show here. The top financial goals that people can set is number 1, spend less than you earn. That's so critical right there to make sure that you do it. Got a couple minutes to wrap everything
If everybody
up.
lived their life by this motto, we wouldn't have people that are in debt. I think it's a great thing to sit down. What's my budget? What do I have coming in? What am I spending? Here's the gap. Let's save the gap.
Right. All debt's bad debt that needs to be paid off. The closer you get to retirement, you can go in debt-free. That's critical. A lot of people ignore that because they think, hey, this is good debt because it's 3% or something.
Well,
like
I think here's what happens when you're debt-free in retirement. Eliminates your risk.
Yeah.
Less debt in retirement just limits risk. You know, you don't have the same ability to earn a wage. Might as well get the debt off the table if at all humanly possible.
Create and maintain an adequate emergency fund. Everybody. Jonas really preaches this with his spare tires, car full of spare tires.
This is probably on my list, the number one thing to make sure you have. This gets you through the tough times. If you lose a job, if we have a recession, whatever kind of comes at you, when you have an emergency fund, it gives you opportunity.
A little cushion.
Yeah.
A little cushion.
Makes
there.
it feel better too.
Yeah. And if you have another emergency fund, you have an opportunity to invest in the market. That's cool too.
That's a second spare tire.
Yeah. Pay yourself first is one of those things that's critical. Again, it's the one that if you don't know it's not there, then you're not going to use it in the first place.
And most people have the ability to do this right through your 401k plan at work. Once you get it going, you just don't even realize it's coming out, and that money will add up very, very, very quickly.
Start investing. The younger, the better. You're never too old to invest. And here's the thing, because we have so many people getting together around the holidays as we wrap up, I will remind you, talk to your kids, talk to your grandkids about investing, no matter what their age is, because show them the power of compound interest. If you're interested in an appointment with my friends at Premier Investments and Wealth Management, do it at premieriwm.com, or the phone number is
800-383-6590.
For Roger Abel, I'm Doug Wagner. We'll talk to you next week. Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2025.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide tax advice. Please consult your tax professional. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. There's no guarantee that a diversified portfolio portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal.